Welcome to the Sportsman Shootout. In this episode, we're setting our sights on two mid-size ATVs, the new Polaris Sportsman XP 550 EFI and the Suzuki King Quad 450. Back in '96, Polaris Sportsman forever changed the way we work, hunt, and ride. The competition's been shooting at it ever since, and missing. And before we get to the shootout, I want to introduce you to the next generation of Sportsman ATVs, the all-new Sportsman XP. Like, whatever you ride now, think about having more power, quicker acceleration, easier steering, and the smoothest ride you can imagine. That's the Sportsman XP. And just look at it. If that's not pure off-road power, I don't know what is. The Sportsman XP is 99% new and 100% Sportsman. It's got all the features that made the Sportsman the world's best-selling automatic ATV. Independent rear suspension, on-demand, true all-wheel drive, and of course, the proven automatic transmission. All better than ever, all designed for extreme performance. Now, for power, this thing's got a 550cc engine. It's longitudinally mounted with electronic fuel injection, 40 horsepower. Now, a new transmission helps put all that power to the ground. It's got roller clutch technology, a fixed center distance clutches, and an MBL 5,000-mile belt for greater durability. Now, more power requires more cooling. The XP radiator is 20% larger, positioned almost 5 inches higher, and angled 5 degrees steeper. Now for the fun part. A straight-out shootout to see which machine has the best power and ride, the new Sportsman XP 550 or the King Quad 450. But let's head out to the Sportsman Shootout.
In the real world, pulling power is the ultimate ATV tough test. For a fair fight, let's go head-to-head on the weight transfer sled. The King Quad growls off the line and drags the sled to 48.9 feet. The new Sportsman XP hooks up faster and pulls harder, moving the sled 31% farther to 64 feet. When it's time to unleash all that power, you need an ATV that can get the job done. We'll run each ATV off the line for 10 seconds and see which one hooks up and delivers the most power to the ground. The King Quad goes 497 feet. The Sportsman, with greater horsepower, goes 524 feet. That's 27 feet, 4 quad lengths farther. Out on the trail, the earth is not your mother. She's going to try and stop you with mud, stumps, windfalls, and boulders. We'll compare how fast the two vehicles deliver extra traction. Let's say the metal stop on this rolling road is a big underwater route. You need more traction. The King Quad makes you stop, totally losing your momentum, then push a button to go to 3-wheel drive. Then flip a lever to lock in the front wheels. On the Sportsman XP, there's no stopping, no extra levers or buttons. The on-demand true all-wheel drive senses when the rear wheels slip, then automatically locks in and delivers full torque to all 4 wheels. Pulling power, 10-second distance, and 4-wheel traction. The Sportsman XP 550 totally rules over the King Quad 450.
Now, many ATVs are like this African gun. Lots of power, but they make you flinch every time you pull the trigger. There's no flinching on the new Sportsman XP because the ride is better than ever. Check this out. There's a new front suspension with dual A-arms and longer travel. And they improved the rear suspension, too. It has rolled IRS with 4 degrees of tip back and the longest travel. And these are the biggest stock wheels ever put on an ATV, 14 inches. It's not just for show. I mean, it actually improves steering. See, the bigger rims allow the engineers to move the hub deeper into the wheel. That moved the steering axis closer to the center of the tire, So more of the force from hitting a rock or a rut is absorbed by the suspension, so you feel it less at the handlebars. They call it anti-kickback steering. So, bigger wheels, longer A-arms, and more suspension travel. You add it all up and you get one more thing, higher ground clearance, 12 inches worth. To jump on, you'll discover a new way to sit on an ATV. So you straddle other big bores, but you ride the XP because we turn the engine 90 degrees. The seat is 3¼ inches narrower at the knees and 5 inches narrower at your feet. So your legs and feet are closer together so you can grip the machine, just like riding a sport quad. Now let's head back to the Sportsman shootout and compare the ride of the Sportsman XP 550 to the King Quad 450.
Trying to tame the rocks can be pretty intimidating, especially if it means arm wrestling the handlebars. That won't happen on the Sportsman XP. To compare steering, we'll attach an accelerometer at the handlebars of each vehicle and take them over the bump track. The King Quad goes first, followed by the Sportsman XP. It's easy to feel the difference, but tough to show it on video. That's where the accelerometer comes in. We'll graph the results. Hitting the bumps, the King Quad had an average force at the handlebars of 5.2 Gs. The Sportsman XP tested out at 4.4 Gs. That's 18% less handlebar shock, which means much easier steering. For the ultimate in easy steering, the Sportsman XP is also available with electronic power steering. Ruts, logs, massive boulders. Keeping the ride smooth takes a sophisticated suspension and lots of travel. Travel is the distance from the bottom of the suspension stroke to the top. The Sportsman XP has 9 inches of front travel, 2 inches more than the King Quad. In back, the XP has 10.25 inches, again 2 inches more. That's the highest in its class for the smoothest ride on extreme terrain. Ever been looking downhill on an ATV? Sportsman XP has the best downhill control by combining active descent control and engine braking. The two systems work together to electronically monitor and control engine braking to give you smoother, easier descents. In this test, with no hand or foot brakes applied, the King Quad pounds down the hill at 14 miles per hour. The XP crawls down at just 5 miles per hour, delivering superior control. Better steering, suspension, and downhill braking. More proof that the Sportsman XP 550 rules, making the King Quad look more like the 500 class Joker.
The new Sportsman XP. XP stands for Extreme Performance, and that's your silver bullet.